The collapse of the 2025 WNBA Finals has become one of the most humiliating moments in professional sports history. A public unraveling of everything the league claimed it had achieved this season. For months, the WNBA bragged about record-breaking ratings, booming merchandise sales, and a supposed cultural renaissance fueled by newfound fan engagement. But behind the shiny PR statements and press releases, a brutal truth was waiting to surface. And when it did, it exposed just how fragile the league's foundation really was. The numbers are out and they're devastating. We're talking about a complete implosion, one that makes every growth headline look like a calculated illusion. Championship tickets, yes, the actual WNBA Finals. The supposed pinnacle of women's basketball, were selling for $6. $6. You couldn't even buy a hot dog and a drink combo at the arena for that price. Parking cost more. The processing fee on Ticketmaster cost more. Yet somehow, seats for the championship series were cheaper than a Happy Meal. Imagine that. The most embarrassing part is how different things looked just a few months ago. When Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Fever were playing in those same arenas, tickets sold out in minutes. Those same seats that went for $6 during the finals had been fetching hundreds, sometimes thousands, when Clark was on the court. Courtside passes during Fever games were going for $2,000 or more. The arenas were electric, filled with families. New fans, celebrities, even NBA stars coming out just to witness what everyone was calling the Caitlyn Clark effect. There was energy, excitement, and a genuine sense that the WNBA had finally cracked the code. Fast forward to the finals without Clark, and the silence inside those buildings told the real story. So what happened? How does a league that spent the year talking about unprecedented growth end up begging fans to buy finals tickets at discount prices that would embarrass a G League game? The answer is painfully simple. The WNBA built its success around one player and refused to admit it. Caitlyn Clark didn't just draw ratings, she carried the league's relevance on her back. Every Fever game became an event. Networks prioritized her matchups, social media buzzed for every three-pointer she hit, and casual fans who had never cared about the WNBA were suddenly watching nightly highlights. But when Clark's season ended, the audience vanished. Overnight, the so-called record-breaking numbers collapsed. Players like Sophie Cunningham saw it coming. She's been one of the few voices of reason, pointing out that you can't guilt or lecture fans into caring. You have to give them something exciting to watch. She understood what so many in the league refused to accept. Entertainment sells. Energy sells. Storylines sell. Without Clark, the WNBA returned to what it had always been for decades, an under-promoted, over-politicized league struggling to connect with mainstream fans. But instead of facing that reality, some of the league's biggest names started lashing out. After Game 2 of the finals, Aja Wilson reportedly had a meltdown, blaming Caitlyn Clark's fans for the empty seats. Think about how absurd that is. The league's biggest star blaming the only fan base that actually made people care about women's basketball. It's like a movie star getting mad that audiences won't watch the sequel after the main character dies. Instead of embracing what Clark brought to the sport, players treated her popularity as a threat. And that mindset, resentment instead of gratitude, is destroying the league from within. The officiating scandals didn't help either. Everyone who watched this season knows the calls were painfully one-sided. When Indiana faced Las Vegas, it felt like watching a rigged game. Clark got hammered driving to the rim with no whistle, while the Aces got free throws for phantom contact. Fans noticed. Analysts noticed. Even former referees called out the inconsistencies. That's what really killed fan trust. It wasn't just that the games were boring, it was that they didn't feel fair. And when you combine bad officiating with players blaming fans and executives living in denial, the result is what we're seeing now. The finals turning into a national punchline. Social media roasted the WNBA relentlessly. Memes flooded timelines showing screenshots of empty arenas and mock ticket listings. Get 2 finals tickets for the price of a coffee. Others joked that Caitlyn Clark's signature shoes cost more than a finals courtside seat. It's brutal, but it's reality. It's not just ticket sales either. When the finals moved to Phoenix, the pattern repeated. Upper deck seats were under $25, lower bowl tickets were $50, and whole sections remained unsold hours before tip-off. The product just wasn't compelling. There were no gripping rivalries, no emotional storylines, just 2 teams trading baskets in front of half-empty stands. Even the players' body language showed it. The energy was flat. The intensity was missing. The games felt more like exhibitions than championship showdowns. Compare that to fever matchups earlier in the season, when fans were lined up around the block before doors opened. Back then, every Clark game felt like an event, a celebration of basketball's next era. The finals felt like its funeral. Then came the ratings. Game 1 of the finals posted the lowest viewership in over a decade. Advertisers who were once eager to associate their brands with the WNBA's growth story quietly backed out. TV partners that had hyped up Clark's debut months earlier barely promoted the finals. The entire infrastructure of excitement that had propped up the season collapsed without her. Fans aren't stupid. They see the disconnect. They know when they're being sold a narrative that doesn't match the product. And right now, the product isn't just underperforming, it's imploding. The league had a once-in-a-generation chance to reinvent itself and blew it. Instead of rallying around their biggest draw, they alienated her. Instead of fixing officiating and ensuring fair competition, they let it rot. Instead of doubling down on storytelling and entertainment, they leaned into PR spin and denial. The saddest part is that the talent is there. The WNBA has incredible athletes who play their hearts out every night. But skill alone doesn't sell tickets. Emotion does. Drama does. Connection does. Fans wanted to be part of something special, and for a few magical months, Caitlyn Clark made that possible. But once she was gone, so was the spark. The rest of the league had nothing to keep those new fans engaged. Now, as the dust settles on one of the most humiliating finals in recent memory, the WNBA faces a crossroads. They can either accept reality, acknowledge what worked and rebuild around it, or keep pretending everything's fine while arenas stay empty. They can either fix their officiating, marketing, and leadership problems, or continue sliding back into irrelevance. But one thing's certain, this year's finals will be remembered not for the basketball, but for what it exposed. The cracks in a system too proud to admit who really carried it. The Caitlyn Clark era proved what was possible. It showed that women's basketball could command national attention, dominate headlines, and fill arenas. But it also proved that without vision and humility, that magic fades fast. The WNBA didn't lose fans because of bad luck. It lost them because it failed to value what it had. Now the league is left explaining to sponsors, networks, and its own players why the dream they were selling turned out to be smoke and mirrors. So what do you think? Can the WNBA recover from this disaster, or has the league's credibility already been shattered beyond repair? Did they waste the greatest opportunity they've ever had? Let me know in the comments below.